Cecilia Bermudez. Welcome to the Cecilia Bermudez Show. Today I have Dr. Amy Pavon. Welcome, Dr. Pavon.
Thank you, Cecilia.
Can you tell me a little bit about why it is important for OTs to get involved in social justice issues?
Well, there's a lot of reasons there. Let me think about this for a second. Because there are so many social justice issues, there have been a lot of individuals who have not had the opportunity to benefit from occupational therapy because they've been beyond the margins of the population that we traditionally serve. And if we don't begin to take a more social advocacy type of role, then we are going to be missing out on huge numbers of individuals who would benefit from our services.
Wow. You did some research on adolescents in the foster care system, transitioning into adulthood. What was the overall role of social justice in your research and on the foster care system?
Well, it plays an integral role in that if you look at the definition of social justice, and if you combine it with an occupational therapy perspective on occupational justice, you'll see that kids in the foster care system are typically deprived of typical occupational roles, and that kids in more traditional families become different. And if you don't get an overview on social justice with that, we might miss the most important aspects of what they're needed.
These foster children, what kind of barriers do they face?
Well, these foster children don't always have the opportunity to learn the normal daily roles that other children have. So they aren't necessarily taught the value of work or how to maintain a home or how to prepare for themselves in the home.
Oh my gosh.
In a group home, it might be done for you. If you are within somebody else's home, like many foster care kids are, there are other children in the home that might be different and have different roles that are expected. There's also a lot of instability from moving from place to place.
Oh, those poor children.
And so they may not adapt to their daily roles within the family. And for some reason, if it's not clearly explained to you, you might be removed from that home and put in someone else's home. So if you don't have good role modeling, like for my kids, they get up every morning, they see me get dressed, go to work, I come home, I cook dinner, I clean.
You cook and clean, very nice.
So they see all that, so they're going to try to be able to handle those types of jobs and assume those roles when they leave the home, which may not actually take place in the foster care setting, because they typically don't see those things.
So it's very important for children to learn to cook and clean so they can get married one day, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very necessary to get married and do many things.
What framework did you build your study around, and can you summarize what the study was about?
Well, the frameworks I picked were easy to come upon.
Oh, yes?
Because I'm trained in an interdisciplinary way, so I think of myself as an anthropologist first, and then an occupational scientist second. And that just happens to be because of the way I was trained, and I was trained by Gary Kilhoffner, and kind of how I envision the roles in my career roles. So in terms of occupational therapy, those are secondary, those frameworks. So they're all intercepting, and they all look at different aspects of marginalization. So as an anthropologist, I look at a medical anthropology, and I was interested in those health outcomes and those factors that impact how people seek health for achieving those healthy outcomes. And kids in foster care don't typically have the skills needed to seek out those.
What a shame.
Yeah. But there's a framework and sort of like a secondary piece to critical medical anthropology, which is uses a critical lens to challenge and understand the status quo. So looking at overall health for these kids and using critical and medical anthropology, there's a theory called structural violence, which looks at how individuals are marginalized based on their positionality in society, which goes very nicely in with occupational justice or social justice. So it was very easy to make that connection between those two things. Very self-explanatory.
Oh, yes, very easy, very easy.
Yeah, and some of those are more interchangeable that, you know, like I said before, I was trained by Barry Kell Hoffner.
Of course.
And since the early development of my work, and much of the work I did with him, it just all makes sense. So all those areas of self-efficacy and habituation and role identity, those fit nicely into those frameworks that I picked.
You are so brilliant.
Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. We learned so much today in the Cecilia Bermudez show. Thank you for joining.